Goblet squats are a great starting point if you're relatively new to actually learning how to squat, or if you have been lifting for a while, but you're looking to kind of regroove and kind of reteach yourself how to squat properly. The reason being is getting a dumbbell in a goblet position, it almost forces you to be in a good squatting position as you start descending down into your squat. So it's actually a great learning tool to actually learning how to squat. Additionally, it's a great tool to use for convenience, because I know in a gym, in a commercial gym setting, we may not always have access to a squat rack or have to wait for one. What's actually cool about goblet squats is once you actually learn how to set up, you can load up relatively heavy. So you can grab the heaviest dumbbell in the gym, and you can use that as a really heavy loaded squat. So you can actually get a really good training effect out of squatting from a goblet position with a really heavy dumbbell. So you don't always have to just rely on the bar. With that, it's also great because you can just drop it if you do start failing. So it's a great safety net as well. So instead of having to rely like on a spotter or something to kind of make sure you get it back up, if you're squatting very heavy in a goblet position, you can just drop it. So it's just great for the whole spectrum of lifters. If you're brand new, it's a great learning tool to learn how to squat properly. And if you're even a higher end advanced athlete, it's a great alternative to a back squat because you can actually load up really heavy with a very heavy dumbbell, and you can take it to a more of a hypertrophy range without having to stress your low back. So you can take it upward up to 8, 10, 15, even 20 reps with that really heavy weight, so you can get a really good training effect out of that goblet squat, which is why I prefer it and really use it for a variety.
Right, so we can actually set up for the goblet squat one of two ways. If we're a little more of an experienced and stronger lifter, we can just pick it up straight from the ground. So you would set that up by placing the dumbbell on the ground, getting right over it, come down into a deadlift position. You're gonna grab the top portion of the dumbbell, you're gonna pull it up nice and high, and then you're gonna get right under it, tuck your elbows in, squeeze it nice and tight, and you're gonna set up for that goblet position, goblet squat. So I'm here, my chest is up, grabbing the top portion of the dumbbell. I'm gonna pull it up quick, get under it, get the elbows tight, tuck it in, okay, get stomach tight, okay, and we're set up for the curl, or for the goblet squat, excuse me, okay. The other way we can do it, if we're not as strong, or we're a little bit newer to this, or we just want to be a little bit safer with it, we can actually set up for it using like a bench to kind of elevate the weight already. So I'm going to start by placing the actual dumbbell on a bench or anywhere that you can elevate that weight, okay? And then from here, I'm going to set up like in the bottom of my goblet squat to get in position to pick it up. So I'm going to get nice and low, okay? Grab it, grab the top portion of the dumbbell, and then I'm going to pick it up from here and set up from here, okay? So now I'm in a good position, and it was a little bit easier for me to get it up, okay? And I'm ready to squat. All right, so now that we're finally in that position, okay, from here it should be relatively easy to kind of maneuver after this, okay? Like I mentioned earlier, we want to keep the elbow squeezing on that dumbbell. We want to keep the dumbbell tight. From here, we're going to just kind of let the weight guide us into our descent into the squat. So we're going to bend the knees, drive the butt back, okay? Get as low as we possibly can, and then we're going to come right back up, squeeze the butt nice and hard, okay? So just go to your limit, okay, but try to get as low as you possibly can, okay? I'm low, and back up, okay? If you want to look from a side view, okay, I'm just kind of sitting straight down into it, okay? So I'm staying back, heels don't come off the ground, and I'm just letting the dumbbell guide me. Okay? Big thing you want to be mindful of is just maintaining an upright position. So if you start fatiguing, what's probably going to happen is you're going to start dunking forward and you're going to start rounding down like this because your upper body can't support you. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're nice and tall and you're staying upright the entire time.
So as I mentioned previously, I like to use the goblet squat even with beginning lifters because it is a great teaching tool and learning tool to actually learn how to squat properly. But for whatever reason, if a goblet squat is still a little too difficult for a client to perform, there is another regression we can do to essentially really groove that hip hinge pattern within the squat. Typically what happens is most people struggle with getting their hips involved in the squat. So if I'm goblet squatting and I still can't get my hips back, and I come straight down like this, okay, I need a regression to that. I need to learn how to actually shift my hips back before I can progress to a goblet squat. So what I would do is I would get 2 ladder dumbbells, and I would squat down. At the same time I'm squatting down, I'm gonna raise these dumbbells up. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna force me to get my hips back to kind of maintain that stability, okay? So it's almost teaching us how to hip hinge just by, without even thinking about it. So as I'm squatting down, I'm gonna raise these dumbbells up, boom. And my butt comes back off of instinct. It has to happen in order to keep that upright and balanced posture. So I would sit back, raise them up, and my butt comes back, and I'm working those hips and that hip hinge pattern within my squat. So once I get this down and this becomes comfortable, it should be natural for your clients to start squatting with a dumbbell, or a kettlebell and a goblet squat. So it should be easier for them to get their hips and their butt involved within that exercise.